Cinematography refers to the art of making motion pictures, specifically the visual aspect. A lot of the time when people talk about cinematography, they're talking about how beautiful a shot in a movie is, or how artsy a film looks. But how would you talk about something like the show Spongebob Squarepants in the context of cinematography? Spongebob, though the art is good, doesn't really vary that much in shot types and doesn't apply lighting to most of its shots, everything usually being colored flat. But over the 13 seasons of the show and various movies, I believe SpongeBob has created a unique visual language, and they use most of these visuals to enhance the show's comedy, and they use them frequently enough for them to become iconic. This is the cinematography of SpongeBob. The most common transition in film is a cut, which gets us from shot to shot. When showing the passing of time, a lot of films and TV would use the crossfade, but SpongeBob does this differently. Sometimes instead of using a cut or crossfade, SpongeBob shows the transition between scenes or locations using a wipe. But not just any wipe, a specific wipe now iconic to the show, the bubble wipe. Not only is it a cool transition, but it's visually appropriate considering the show takes place in the ocean. I tend to find wipes visually distracting since they are very noticeable, but the bubble wipe successfully connects two shots without being super distracting due to how it fits with the show's visuals. A normal wipe like this would distract, but the quick wipe using bubbles to hide the transition works wonders. Most of the shots in SpongeBob would show the characters from a 3/4 view angle and show their whole body, which is known as a full shot. But SpongeBob uses close-up shots in many episodes to show you details you wouldn't be able to see otherwise. A lot of the time, this is used for shock or gross-out humor. But I believe it's more than just that, as not only do these shots enhance the comedy of the show, but they are more visually interesting than looking at the pretty normal shots the show has to offer. If this shot of Squidward opening his eyes was a normal, medium, or full shot, it would still work, but it would be way less funny, and less visually interesting. These detailed painting shots add a lot to the visuals of SpongeBob and have become iconic. A lot of cartoons do this, but SpongeBob is known for it. The difference in creating these frames by being actual paintings instead of cells or digital frames also make these stand out more. SpongeBob uses pretty standard lighting most of the time. The colors are mainly consistent, but some episodes change the colors, like in the episode Rock Bottom. When SpongeBob ends up stuck in Rock Bottom, the colors become more desaturated and darker to add to the eeriness of the location. The characters who live in this location also have brightly colored outlines, which differs from the black outlines of most of the characters in the show, or SpongeBob's pretty desaturated green outline. The anglerfish also has a red light connected to it, which in the episode affects the surroundings, adding a red hue to the overall colors. This is a case of practical lighting, which I feel like we don't see much in cartoons. Another example of this is SpongeBob's glove light in the same episode. I think this episode has become so iconic due to the choices in visuals, including color and lighting, on top of its humor. Another iconic visual gag used in SpongeBob is time cards. A common transition when showing the passing of time in film and TV is the crossfade, which blends two shots together over a set period of time. SpongeBob doesn't do this. Instead, they cut to time cards. These time cards state how long has passed since the last scene or shot. These convey visually that time has passed while also being humorous in nature. These, along with the narrator's voice that reads them, have become iconic parts of SpongeBob, both in visuals and audio. This visual transition is unique to SpongeBob, as you won't see it often outside of the show. So even though SpongeBob isn't the most cinematic show, it still uses cinematography principles to create its unique visual language that has become famous in its own right. It uses very untraditional transitions, very detailed close-ups, and sometimes uses lighting techniques seen in live-action films. These have all been in SpongeBob since the earlier seasons, and continue to shape the show as it continues for what seems like forever. Maybe we can learn from SpongeBob's unique cinematography and use some of its techniques in our films, animated or live-action.